And I think we really have to stop looking at achievements and looking at things that people have accomplished and say, oh, I want that. Welcome to the Ryan Rice Show, where we talk about what we learned yesterday that we can apply today so that we can be better tomorrow. I hope you enjoy and subscribe. What is going on, everyone? Today I want to talk about something that I have been thinking about for a while. It's been on my mind for a while because I feel like I've seen a lot of examples of this thing happening. And it's a topic that I want to talk about. And I'm going to start with a story of someone that I know came to me last year. It was early last year. And she said to me, hey, I really want to grow my legs and I really want to grow my booty. And it's just a journey that I want to go on and I really want it. And can you help me? And she came to me, for those that don't have context and know me personally, I've been in love with fitness and nutrition for a while. I grew up playing sports and I kind of transitioned into this love to stay active. And so she came to me because I guess the way that I looked is something that she wanted. And so she came to me this question and I looked at her and I said, well, are you sure that you really want it? And she looked at me kind of confused and yeah, that's what I want. And I said, okay, well, here is what I would suggest. Let's first start with your nutrition. How many calories are you eating? Oh, I'm not sure. All right, cool. Well, we found how many calories that she should eat, and we said, are you tracking what it is that you eat? Oh, no. Well, no. I said, okay, well, and I went kind of through that whole thing. And I said, here, it's important that if you want this, that you track how many calories that you're eating because we want to make sure that we're hitting a certain macro goal. How about protein? How much protein are you eating? I'm not sure. All right, well, here's about how much protein that you want to eat. And then we set up her carbs and her fat as well. And I said, okay, here's kind of the first part of this is let's just make sure that every single day that you're tracking this and you stay consistent and you're hitting these nutrition targets every day. And I could already tell she's kind of giving me these looks like, oh my gosh. And then I said, okay, from a gym perspective, here are some exercises that are really, really good. And here are some things that I would suggest. And I think if you do it 2 to 3 times a week, then that is probably the right weekly time frame. And I was like, just do that and then do it for the next 3 years and you'll be good. And she literally turned her neck super fast and was like, wait, what? What do you mean? And I was like, well, yeah. I mean, you gotta this is literally what you have to do for a very extended period of time. And then, you might get the outcome that you're after. And she was like, well, what, 3 years? Really? Why do I need to do that? And I said, well, I mean, that's probably how long it might take to get to that point and to actually be sustainable and to, build consistent habits. I mean, you're going to want to dedicate a very long period of time and do that. And so we wrapped up that conversation and guess what? Here we are, probably about 12 months later. And I hate to say it, but nothing has changed with her. And, there was a period in my real estate journey where I saw an outcome. And I was like, wow, I want that. And then I would go do some things and I found out how hard it actually was. And through that whole lesson in my real estate business, something I've shifted the focus on because I just wanted to try something a little bit different is I started focusing on the activities that are going to help me achieve the goal rather than focus on, wow, I really want X outcome. And then I'm going to get excited about something and just go try to get after that outcome. And I've shifted my focus entirely just to doing brute volume of the activities that are necessary in order to achieve a reasonable outcome. And something interesting has kind of happened in that mindset shift for me and I just want to touch on it for a second. I have learned to fall in love with the game of business with zero expectation of outcome. And I know that if I just keep going and keep playing this game of business, and I keep doing it for a very extended period of time, like until I die, and I know that if I just keep doing that, I'm going to love that because I've learned to fall in love with the journey. And in the beginning, when I first got started, like when I left Fortune 30 and I decided to start something new, I didn't start like, ooh, I know that I'm going to fall in love with business. I'm obsessed with business. I know that I'm going to fall in love with the game. I just knew that I wanted something different. And I knew that I just needed to start. And the result of me starting was that in the beginning I sucked a little bit, or I sucked the most at the level of suckiness that I've had. And I've gotten a little bit better since because I've learned. And through that process, I've just learned to love the journey in the game of business. And I'm doing it now for the purpose of the game, and not for anything that the game of business is going to produce for me. Real quick, as you guys know, I just recently started this podcast. If you could give it a rating with a quick tap of the thumb, that would mean the world to me. And even more importantly, it could help spread the word to a broader audience, which in turn could help change a life. Thank you so much, and let's get back to the show. And something that I think I've got the most enjoyment out of, or that has brought me the most joy, is that I've realized that the product of this game of business that I'm playing is not the result of the business itself, but it's me, the product of who I've become. And I have learned that I am the product of what it is that I'm going through, and the character traits or the beliefs that I have or my skill set. All of those things are the product of what it is that I'm going through, and not necessarily what my business may produce in terms of revenue or profit. And I know that who I'm going to become in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, in the next 30 years is going to be the product of everything that all of the behaviors that I do and all the things that I focus on over that period of time. And it's not going to, regardless of how much money the business makes. And I'm in love with that thought and that feeling that, the result of what it is that I am doing on a day in and day basis is producing the product of me, and nobody can ever take that from me. And regardless of whatever macro or micro thing that may happen in the world or my business, the product is me, and I'm just continuing to get better. And regardless of the outcome, I'm just going to continue to get better and keep going. And I think what I reflect on is, like, you'll never beat someone who loves the journey more than you do. And I don't mean, like, it's not about competition, but let's say if your goal, for example, is to run a marathon in under 3 hours or something like that. And so you see that outcome and you're like, oh, I really want that. The person who just absolutely loves running for extended periods of time, every single day, and they love the pain that brings, they love the journey that is always going to beat the person who just wants to hit that time really badly. And so if you get into something and you really want something, but you don't love the journey of what it is that you're doing, like you're never gonna get to the point of excellence, because there's always going to be someone out there who just loves, the journey, and that person is going to beat you. And so I think it's really, really important. And the reason why I wanted to make this is just I feel like I've seen a lot of people recently who have verbalized or say, oh, I want this, I want that. And they don't take the time to understand the sacrifices, the trials and tribulations of the person that they see, of the thing that they want, there's no level of understanding of what that person has been through or what that person has sacrificed, or all of the steps that it's taken to get to where that person is. All they see is the outcome, right? All they see is the achievement. And I think we really have to stop looking at achievements and looking at things that people have accomplished and say, "Oh, I want that," without understanding every single thing that they've been through, every single sacrifice, all of the trials and tribulations and all the pain that have fed those people for however many years that they have been at. Because that's what's so popular nowadays. We see an outcome, or we see an achievement that someone has, and we're like, "Wow, I want that." But like, no, you don't. You don't actually want it, because one, you don't even know what that person has done to get there, and then two, once you find out what the person has done, if you're not willing to do the same things, then no, you don't, and that's okay. Like, I think it's important just to get clarity on what it is that you actually want. I think that's what's so important about plugging a destination into your life and then driving there, because once you're clear on the journey and the path required to get there, then you can decide if you actually want the thing. And if you don't want that, then that's super cool. And then you can plug in a new destination for a path that you do want. But I think it's really important not to get caught up in seeing people's achievements or seeing people's outcome and saying, "Ooh, I want that." Because if you don't understand what the person has done to get there, then maybe you don't actually want that. And I think that's an important thing to confront. So, focus on the journey. And if you can learn to love the journey, then I think that's you're going to be set up to win. And I think what's really neat is, like, cool things happen when you start, right? When I started this business, I didn't intend to fall in love with the journey, but it's happened. And so if there's something out there that you want to get into, the first step is to start, and who knows what you might fall in love with. And so go fall in love with something new, right? Go actually try something. You never know what it is that you're going to enjoy and which path that you may like. But what's cool is that if you start, you'll do things that you didn't envision happening. You'll fall in love with things that you didn't envision falling in love with. And then cool things will start to happen. So I hope that was helpful. Wanted to go through that for you guys because it's been on my mind for a little bit. But hope you guys got some value out of that. And thank you guys for listening. I love you guys. And until next one, see ya.